the intention was never, at least from my perspective, never to make it a mountain out of a molehill, so to speak, but just to go through the process and get it done. And then, you know, and then you still function as you've always been functioning, you know, doing the things that you do. And no one's trying to interfere with that. So, I mean, to me, this is basically a paperwork drill from when I was talking with Nicole about just putting in the procedures and giving guidelines. So when you folks do get confronted with something, you can say, okay, look, this is what it says in here, this is what we gotta do. You don't have that, okay? So you've been basically operating, you know, like, all right, common sense, you know, what's practical, what's pragmatic, and you're doing that. And the council appreciates that. So but now they're saying, okay, let's give them the help they need, and let's go ahead and put these requirements out here. But we need to move forward, not backward, and dwell on, you know, the stuff in the past. All we're trying to do is get this clear. You guys have got bigger issues down the road to deal with, you know, particularly like, you know, you know, you've got marketing projects and things of that nature that deal with the budget and things that you're going to have to get through. And we want you to be successful. The council members have all said they want you to be successful. They just want to make sure that everybody is following the same guidelines. Okay, and they call them guidelines. I mean, they would. Me, you know, as a lawyer, I'm saying those are requirements, okay? So, you know, and that's how I would write them, as requirements.
So are they requirements or guidelines?
Well, to me, they're requirements. They'll be in the bylaws, so they'll be requirements, and they'll be in your part of your procedures with requirements.
What about right now?
Right now, they are unwritten requirements that you should follow. Until we clarify them.
Okay, can
Well,
I ask
I
a
think
question?
shame on us because we didn't have it in place. But ever since last year, when the Hall Board had the little fiasco that they had, because they did have a committee, they did interview, and they moved one up. And if any of you were tuned in at all, it should have been a real clue that things were going to be questioned, because we at that point said, okay, we need to get something in place so that it is a transparent process, so that there will be an advertisement for the position. So you will have people who are interested apply, and you will look at who's going to be best qualified. And it's not the fact that who you hired may not have been, but there was nothing about a transparent process in a sense that you followed as far as advertising. We didn't have that in place here, but I think we just kind of assumed that people knew that that needed to take place. And so when this whole thing was quite a surprise, because we were in the process of developing that process. And when your executive director was given a 6-month interim director, you know, we felt okay because things were going to be moving along. Before our meeting to discuss this, the day before, is when y'all made the position permanent. And so, you know, we can maybe all point fingers, but we need to get beyond that. We need to look at what your mission is. We need to know, and we will follow certain guidelines or certain requirements. They will be uniform, and because regardless of how good anybody is, we had the same thing over at the West Volusia Advertising Authority about 3 years ago. They kind of got beyond what their mission really was. And we needed to, and somehow we could not get that through, that this is what you need to do. You know, we don't need an attorney here at every meeting. We need a liaison person. And so when you look at what is going on, and we are all bright people, we can sit down and say, okay, this is what we need to follow. It's not a personal thing, it's what's got to be. Or this is what we had to do with West Volusia. We could never, we worked, we set out the goals and the process, it did not work. We had to remove every person on the board and start all over again. And so that we could kind of get refocused on, okay, what is the mission? What are we supposed to be doing? These are public monies. What do we have to do that we can't do in private practice? And so that's kind of where we are. You're spending all your time. These people are spending all their time. It doesn't need to be. We just need to say, okay, for an executive director, they got to file an application. They got to have a background check. They got to have a credit rating. Their salary is going to fall within a range depending on the qualifications and experience. And that's what the bottom line is for an executive director.